Boris Johnson is set to step up the pressure on the BBC by appointing two high-profile critics of the corporation in key oversight positions. Former Daily Mail editor Paul Dacre is set to take over at the broadcast watchdog Ofcom, which has been regularly criticised for failing to properly hold the BBC to account. Meanwhile, it is understood the former Daily Telegraph editor Lord Charles Moore is to be named as the BBC chairman. The appointment of two leading Brexiteers could significantly shake up the UK's media landscape. Lord Moore has been an outspoken critic of the BBC over its decision to scrap free TV licenses for the over 75s. It is understood Mr. Dacre will use his position at Ofcom to tackle allegations of BBC bias and bureaucracy, but will also go after internet platforms who peddle fake news. Whitehall sources say he passionately believes it needs saving from itself, The Times reports. Both veterans of Fleet Street have also criticised the BBC for its coverage of Brexit over the past 4 years since Britain voted to leave the EU. Mr. Johnson reportedly held initial talks with Mr. Dacre about the role in February. The current chairman of Ofcom, Lord Burns, was appointed in January 2018 and is set to leave at the end of the year. A source close to Mr. Johnson said, "This is part of a process of the Prime Minister putting allies in key positions." Last month, Lord Moore was handed a peerage by the Prime Minister and senior figures say it is a "done deal" that he will become the new BBC chief. In 2010, Lord Moore, who also wrote a biography of Margaret Thatcher, was fined £262 by the Cooperation for not possessing a license. Earlier this year, he insisted the BBC could not carry on as before, and described the organisation as woke and pro-Remain. He wrote, "It is essential to understand that technological and generational change has already destroyed the BBC's century-old wider still and wider doctrine. It is simply not possible for it to dominate all fields any longer. The BBC must start to decolonize. It needs government help to do this in a dignified manner, more like British imperial decline than like the fall of the Soviet Union."